This is the SES Defender of Freedom uploading data log for the weeks of days 173 through 179 of the Galactic War. Hello Data Archive. Progress towards the liberation of our stolen planets against the Toasters have progressed well in the past week. But despite their inevitable defeat already calculated, the automatons continue to desperately resist freedom. At the start of day 173, the Major Order was a pressure advantage in the Ymir and Trigon sectors of the now isolated, illegally occupied planets. We would like to thank the Data Archive for expressing their concerns over the accuracy of our logs around a certain planet. Cooperating super destroyers have also expressed their confusion and concerns on what the name of the system is. The Data Archive has sent us feedback from many contributors, and we'd like to express our gratitude as this has led us to determine the correct name. The WhatsApp system.
Wasat system.
No. WhatsApp system. Through Monday morning, Helldivers are primarily focused on finishing off the liberation of WhatsApp. Lost in the confusion of our science initiative last week, the automaton's cowardly defenses were no match for the Helldivers, despite the poor visibility conditions on the planet. The socialist toaster agenda of reconnecting with Cyberstan was futile, as liberty always prevails. And Helldivers completed the liberation of the planet in the opening hours of the day. The liberation caused the chain of the cowardly designed orbital cannons to be disrupted once again, temporarily deactivating them for 12 hours. Voting on the next planet then commenced, and thanks to democracy, Helldivers primarily deployed to Vega Bay and Verulia 5 to cool off. Unfortunately, 12 hours later, we were unable to liberate another planet in time, and the orbital cannons were activated once more. But progress still continued well into Tuesday morning, until a desperate and cowardly automaton attack was launched into X-45. The electronic idiots we call our enemies continue to desperately attempt to stop us from closing in on the planets that they illegally occupy. With Vega Bay nearly liberated, a small fleet moved to X-45 to slow down the attack, while the majority remained on Vega Bay to shut down the attack at its source. The brilliant Helldivers outsmarted this foolish attempt by exploiting the vulnerability of Vega Bay, the source of the attack. We already knew this could happen, and nothing could take us by surprise. Using their unmatched skill and the power of democracy, Helldivers valiantly continued to fight through the ice storms on Vega Bay, causing the bots' hold on the planet to rapidly slip. You might wonder what the bots were thinking by launching such a vulnerable attack, but the obvious answer is that they can't. Within 3 hours, Vega Bay was liberated and the attack on X-45 was shut down. With 2 planets for the Major Order now liberated and a foothold established on Verulia 5, Helldivers primarily deployed to liberate the planet without hot conditions, the most strategic planet to take next. The arrival of reinforcements from Vega Bay swiftly turned the tide on Verulia 5, overwhelming the automatons with their unmatched firepower and precision. Verulia 5 was liberated by Wednesday afternoon, once again shutting down the orbital defenses. With only 2 planets remaining, Helldivers had a choice: the scorching hot Ustotu with poor visibility and tremors, or the scorching hot Wazen with fire tornadoes. Helldivers chose tremors. Braving the scorching heat of the Ustotu deserts, Helldivers used their extensive 10-minute training knowledge to optimize stratagems and weaponry to effectively shut down anything the socialist appliances were capable of. The bots used everything they could to maintain control over our stolen lands, but no number of gun or dropships could match the efficiency of 4 Helldivers. The Toasters were scrapped, and by the evening of day 176, the liberation of Ustotu was complete. With only 16 hours remaining and 1 planet left to liberate, Helldivers faced a huge challenge to complete the Major Order in time. But the brave and obedient Helldivers do not think twice or ask any questions, and the final push began immediately on Wazen. Over the past 4 days, with the focus on the automatons, the liberation of Astanu was falling by the day, and a portion of Helldivers super destroyers remained on Astanu through the week in attempts to maintain our efforts. But by Friday, liberation has dropped to 23%. Despite the Helldivers' best efforts and valiant sacrifices, unfortunately, we were not able to liberate Wazen in time, reaching 55% liberation by the end of the Major Order. The bots have proceeded to deploy orbital cannons across the entire automaton-infested domains. However, our pilot shortages have been replenished, along with additional training to limit further impacts to the extraction times. Despite this, destruction of the orbital cannons will remain critical to the war effort. Wasting no time at all, new orders were received immediately from High Command. High Command has ordered an efficacy review of the mine stratagems. It is suspected that the stratagem has insufficient power to assist Helldivers effectively in the increasingly perilous battlefields. The goal of this major order is to destroy 1.5 billion of Liberty's enemies, and if Helldivers are unable to reach this target, High Command will authorize the urgent addition of anti-tank mines to the Helldivers repertoire. The anti-tank mines have slipped through the Helldivers' hands several times in past major orders. First, on day 80, they were not prioritized over the Airburst rocket launcher and citizens on Penta. Then on day 98, we were only able to obtain 1.5 billion automaton corpses for the recycling program, hence not being able to use a single one for the anti-tank mines and dumping them all into our galactic landfills. Finally, on day 128, Helldivers chose to liberate Vernon Wells to save the very sick children over the anti-tank mines. Following the receipt of new orders, Helldivers were eager to finish what they started, and a portion of super destroyers continued the effort to complete the liberation of Wasat. The remainder reinforced Istanu, and liberation of both planets steadily rose throughout the day. Progress continued into Saturday morning, when a new Terminid attack broke out on Crux. This appeared to only be a minor outbreak, and it was easily contained within 9 hours. By this time, our progress towards a major order was significantly behind. It seems High Command suspicions may be correct, and we may really need those anti-tank mines. For the remainder of the day through into Sunday, progress continued simultaneously on Istanu and Wasat, but the automatons launched yet another unprovoked attack on Marfark. Helldivers would then split between Wasat, Marfark, and Istanu. And just shortly afterwards, Istanu was liberated. And then Helldivers then chose Crimsica as the next target on the Terminid front. After several days, the continued efforts on the liberation of Wasat were finally realized. The horrors on Wasat truly give Helldivers their name. Despite not liberating the planet for the major order, brave Helldivers continued to deploy to Wasat, fighting through the fierce fire tornadoes for 3 days. Committed to finishing off the isolated automaton planets and completing the liberation of the Ymir sector, at long last, the liberation of Wasat was completed in the opening hours of day 180. Reinforcements then redirected to Marfark, and the automaton attack was shut down just over an hour later. This concludes this data log for days 173 through 179 Data Archive. Even though we are likely to see 2 failed major orders this week, Helldivers should hold their head high, as we've won many battles this week for the side of Liberty in this galactic war. 5 planets under the death grip of the freedom-hating appliances were liberated by brave Helldivers who endured all manner of environmental conditions in pursuit of liberty. In the isolated sector, only Troost and Vandalon 4 remain. The Defender of Freedom is deploying Helldivers to continue the push on Vandalon 4.